Hey guys, Panzer J back after a couple month hiatus. I just received my Global War 36 version 4 map in the mail yesterday. Got that and the charts and the player aid. So I thought I'd do a video showing you guys the map and the charts. And then I'm going to go ahead and get this set up and do second half of the video will be what the map looks like with the initial setup done. So I've actually got two YouTube wars coming up. I ordered two of the map. Now, the one that I have here is the roundels version. There's also one that has the nation's flags on it in place of the roundels. So I ordered one of each. The flag one hasn't arrived yet. Hopefully we'll be getting that here soon. So I'll be able to simultaneously have two YouTube wars going on. Operation Thunderball and Operation Dark Horizon. So can't wait to get into new YouTube war. It's been several months, so definitely been itching to do that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the version 4 map here a little bit closer. As you can see, the colors really pop out on this. They're really bright and vibrant, especially the blue for the C zones and stuff. You can see some zones here are a little bit of a lighter blue, the C zones, and then some darker here too. And that looks really nice. Over here we got the U.S. obviously, and the eastern portion of Canada. Down here into Central America and South America. Now, I'm not sure a whole lot has changed as far as the territories. I know a couple have changed, which we'll get into here in a little bit. Africa. I know they did, going up here into the Med, I know they did go ahead and add at least one, if not a couple of C zones in the Mediterranean, which I do like that. Up into Southern Europe here, Yugoslavia has been broken up into two territories now. I believe they might have added a territory in Poland. I'm not sure. And then definitely here in Romania, Bessarabia was not a separate part of Romania before, and now that is. Germany, France. If you see... you've got the German Iron Cross symbol here in these coastal French territories up through Belgium, the Netherlands, and Denmark. And then it's got a star next to it. That is because that is part of a strategic objective for the Germans. And that should apply to other nations as well that have strategic objectives on the map. So that's pretty cool. Russia looks pretty much the same. They've got 4 cities there, or actually 5 cities. It looks like in the on the European side of the map there: Moscow, Stalingrad, Kiev, Smolensk, and Leningrad. So let's see what else. Helsinki there in Finland, that has been added as a city territory. I do not believe it was in version 3. Okay, through the Middle East here and down into India. In China, things have been simplified a little bit. I do not believe there are as many warlords, but I could be mistaken about that. I don't think there's quite as many warlords. The Japanese territories, Korea up through Manchuria there, and then the Japanese home islands. I like that orange. Definitely that orange is popping on the map as well. The Money Islands, Borneo, Sumatra, Java, Celebes. Looks good. I definitely like the foliage. Looks like jungle terrain on the island itself. I think that looks really cool. That's a nice addition. The islands, some of the smaller island chains also have been outlined. So I think that makes it a little bit easier to identify the island chains there. Like the Solomon Islands here are a good example, or the Gilbert Islands over here. Australia, and then up the Pacific over here to the west coast of the United States, and then Western Canada. So, and then they also have a build queue down here in the lower right-hand corner. That was a separate chart in version 3. So overall looks really nice. This is the smaller map, the 36 by 72. I don't have my own custom table yet, hoping to get one down the road. So for the time being, I have to make do with a converted air hockey table. So this is the biggest map that I can fit on my air hockey table. So that's why I go with the 36 by 72. I do have a couple of tables that I'm going to use to set up the second game once that flag map arrives. So let's take a look at some of the player aids. So here we have, it's two-sided. So one side has the attacker combat modifiers and the other has the defense combat modifiers. And it's just talking about the different modifiers based on terrain and whatnot that different units, either their attack goes up or their defense goes down, depending. And this is stuff that you would have found in the rule book in version 3, but these cards just are handy, and that way you don't have to thumb through the rule book looking for those combat modifiers. Then we have the IPP chart. So again, this is two-sided. So on one side, you're going to get the roundels version, which is the side that I currently have flipped over. And then along the top, obviously, you have 6-month increments for the date. And then and they're in red until you get to the point where they turn green on turn 17, which is when you'll start rolling for the variable ending to the game. So I like that. And then down at the bottom, you've got each country's IPP bonus, depending on if they reach certain objectives. Like Northern Norway gives Germany +2, Sweden +3, Romania +3, and so on. I believe some of these have changed from version 3, but I would have to double check and actually compare the two. But I think there's a few different ones there. And each of the major powers has at least one bonus they can attain. And then again, on the reverse is the same thing, except for it's the flag version. So like for Germany, it's the swastika. The Russians, it's the hammer and the sickle. So that is the IPP chart. And then we've got I don't know the official name for this, but it's basically an events chart for each of the major powers. So, and across the top, obviously, is the dates based on the game turns. And then for each nation, if there's a special event or equipment that are available at a certain date, that's highlighted. So like for Germany, turn 5, July 38, you've got mechanized infantry, medium armor, and strat bombers available. Then the following turn, January of 39, the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact is available. So, for instance, turn 11, that's the end of the Blitzkrieg ability. So you have up to turn 11 there to perform the German Blitzkrieg. ability or lose it. So that's pretty cool. And so obviously some nations have more events than others. Like, for instance, let's take a look at Italy down here. They just have one in January of 40, turn 8, mechanized infantry, medium armor, strat bombers available. And then also one thing that's new in this game is after January of 40, cavalry is no longer available. So the only cavalry that you'll see after that point in the game is just cavalry that's been purchased up to that point in the game. And again, this is two-sided. So this is the roundels version. And again, you can tell the difference. Let's just look at the Germans real quick. So the flag version is the swastika, and the roundels version is the Iron Cross. And there you go. That's the same thing, just with the flag version showing. Then we've got another player aid. So this is new to version 4. So this chart, and again, double-sided with the roundels and the flags. So this has the victory cities at the top. So what you could do is whoever is in possession, whatever nation is in possession of that victory city, you can just put one of the roundels there to signify that they have that. And then there's the strategic objectives listed underneath for each of the powers. So for the Germans, there's 3, the Spanish Civil War, Lebensraum, and Festung Europa. And obviously the rules spell out in the rule book exactly what each of those strategic objectives, what benefit they have, what the requirements are to meet those objectives. Again, some nations have more than others. Italy, for instance, they have 2. I know they took away the Spanish Civil War strategic objective from the Italians. I do know that. France, for instance, a world power, the Chinese Civil War, and so forth. And then let's take a look at the other side. Again, it's just going to be the same thing with the flags on it. And then we've got our attack and defender charts. And these are very similar to version 3. Just obviously any new units or new combat values for any of the units have changed. But other than that, they're two-sided. So the attacker on one side, the defender on the other. I like the silhouettes for each the units. They did a good representation of a lot of the nations involved. Like, for instance, the medium armor, they got the Panzer Mark IV, a later version Panzer Mark IV. They got a fighter for the Japanese kamikaze. They got an Me-262 for jets. For heavy armor, that's a Tiger 1, and that looks like a Joseph Stalin 2, I believe, for the Russians. So you got your attacker and defender charts. And then finally, you've got the technology chart. So again, some things have changed a little bit here. Some have been added, and some have been deleted from version 3. I know, for instance, the wartime economy has been taken out, much to the disappointment of several players that I've talked to. They loved getting that extra cash. But I know things like improved logistics have been added. Airborne doctrine, I know, is another new one. And it's the same as in version 3, stages 1, 2, 3, and then 4, you have it complete. And this is flipped to the roundel side, and then we have the flag version. One last thing, the material that the map is printed on is different. It's let's see if we can take a look here real quick. It's a thicker material, but doesn't curl up like the old maps. So Took that right out of the tube, and it immediately laid flat down on the surface there. So that's kind of cool. Still got my version 3 map underneath there. But so if you want to just look real quick, if I can compare a little bit here, there you go. That's the Pacific and the West Coast of the United States and Western Canada there. The difference, you can see how much more vibrant the colors are in the version 4 map, how much more they pop out. And again, what I was talking about with the islands, you can see here, like for instance, the Gilbert Islands, just a normal chain of islands in version 3, whereas over here in version 4, they've got it like outlined. So I like that addition too. So that is the version 4 map. I'm going to go ahead, get the game set up, and go ahead and do a quick overview for you guys of what it looks like once it's set up. Okay, guys, so I got the setup complete for version 4 Global 36 here. So going around the map, we got the United States all set up. Now all these ships for the United States are in port to start the game. So that's a new feature for version 4 here. I've got to get some of the import markers. I don't have any right now. So the olive drab there, the United States, the Canadians, and the British over here in England are the tan. The French, obviously, in blue. The orange that I've got there for Poland and then Belgium and the Netherlands. I use orange just because to represent, I'd say, Allied-leaning countries, nations that went, that fought with the Allies eventually in World War II. So that's the orange. Germany in black. You got the Italians in a darker brown. The yellow there through Bohemia, Slovakia, Austria, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, and up through Finland. Yellow for me is going to represent countries that were Axis-leaning that ended up fighting with the Axis. The white that we've got sprinkled throughout Europe, up in Sweden and Norway, down through Yugoslavia, Switzerland, Turkey. Those are going to be neutral. Same thing over here in South America. I don't believe in either of my YouTube wars that I got coming up that we're playing with any expansions. Obviously, everyone's brand new to version 4, so we got enough on our plate just trying to get through version 4 here without any major mistakes. So if I was playing with the Spanish or the South American, Brazil, Argentina Civil War, then I would have different colors for them down there. But since we're not going to go ahead and play with an expansion, they're just going to be neutral white. The Spanish Civil War set up. The two factions there. The Republicans and the Nationalists. Through Africa, sparsely fortified right now. We got the Italians and the British in Northern Africa. Some neutrals like Abyssinia. Small British fleet there in the Med off of Alexandria. The Italians got a pretty strong fleet set up off of southern Italy. Again, Turkey in neutral white. Then we've got coming through the Middle East, Iraq and Iran, Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia, all white. The Russians in a kind of lighter brown color. Obviously, they stretch all the way over to the Pacific Ocean with Amur and Primorsky Krai. In China, we've got the kind of lighter green is the KMT. The off purplish color is the CCP, and then all the red is the different warlords, and they're represented by the flags of the actual warlord. The FEC is in a kind of cream color. Siam is going to be yellow because that's usually ends up being Japanese possessed. The Money Islands, again in orange. The Australians down here in gray. Up to the Japanese, and it was really hard finding room for all their ships there in Sea Zone 15. It's absolutely jam-packed with ships. So the Japanese in a darker orange. And then the U.S. again over here on the west coast with the olive drab. And again, all those U.S. ships are also in port. I see they've added a few defenses to Hawaii. I think in previous versions, Hawaii had like an infantry, either one infantry or one militia. And now they've got one of each plus a anti-aircraft gun. So not that that would probably stop the Japanese if they really wanted to make a concerted effort, but a little bit more defenses for Hawaii. And then you got the build chart. The box all the way to the right is the units that are about to be placed. And then position 2 in the middle and position 3 on the far left, represented by each nation. So that is the setup. So I'm ready to roll. Just waiting on the rest of the guys to get their maps. And hopefully we'll be kicking off a YouTube War 2 here for you guys within the next week or so. So stay tuned. I'll have a link in the description once we get started for the channels for the other guys that are playing. A bunch of familiar faces and a bunch of good players. So both of the games should be really competitive. And like I said, it'll be a little bit challenging just because it'll be everybody's first time in version 4. So hopefully not too many mistakes for you guys and some entertaining content coming your way.